Last night in New York's primary elections, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez won handily, but Jamaal Bowman is making the press because he was just ousted from Congress. Now, the funny thing is, this is not a general election. General elections don't matter if your district is D plus 50. Okay, it's like D plus 30. But that means the real race is going to be the primary. So the first thing I want to say is all of you should be focused on your primaries if you are in red or blue areas. AOC was able to defeat a 10-term incumbent? I don't know how many years Crowley was in, but she defeated him. You know what that means? It means that if there is a primary race taking place in your blue area, you can easily win the congressional seat, even if it is, let's say you're like a libertarian, you're more conservative, and you're in a blue area. You only need, you know what, let's pull up these numbers so I can show you. You don't actually need that many votes to win, okay? I mean, look, it's not going to be super easy. George Latimer defeats Jamaal Bowman, 44,000 votes. 75,000 votes cast. That is 10%. 10% of the district. Yo, that's wild. That means Latimer got like 6 or 7% of available votes. And he won. Now, the reason why this is big news is that Jamaal Bowman is a far left squad member, they call him. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez storms out on stage, jumping up and down, yelling, "Let's go, Bronx!" And he lost. AOC could not even rally support for this man. Let's pull it up. To be fair, he won the Bronx. Look at that. He got 84% of the Bronx. Only 6,682 votes. Latimer got 1,307. But then there's Westchester County. That's where all the votes actually came in. And that's fascinating. The Bronx is a lot of people. You see how small it is compared to Westchester? But the voter turnout in Westchester was massive for everybody. And that gave Latimer the win. The reason this is big news is many people are saying the Jewish vote is going to dump the Democratic Party. Bowman ran on this narrative of anti-Israel, anti-AIPAC, and, pro-Palestine. And for this, he is out of Congress. They're saying that he's the first Democrat to be ousted. We're now getting reporting that Cori Bush, another squad member, may be ousted. So these are the far leftists. And I got to say, a lot of people making fun of Jamaal Bowman, saying maybe pulling the fire alarm really did it for him. That could be it. I'm sure there's a lot of people in New York who are pro-Palestine, very critical of Israel, but this dude pulled a fire alarm. How embarrassing. He pulled the emergency signs off the door, pulled the fire alarm. Why? And then lied about it. Well, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to give a shout out to AOC, who rallied for Bowman, and he lost. She's lucky she wins. But I think we may be seeing a rebuke of the far left candidates in Congress, and we're not seeing the same thing for the right. There are some Republicans. I think there was one Republican recently who lost, but it was to a Trump-endorsed candidate. Now, some people are like, that's a rhino. Look. Donald Trump endorses a candidate, they win. Far left candidates lose. The American people are sick of the far left garbage. I was saying this yesterday before Timcast IRL to Amy, who was coming on. I was like, we were talking about Matt Gaetz. She asked me who my favorite guest was. I was like, I don't know. And she's like, well, you had Matt Gaetz here. I'm like, yeah, Matt Gaetz is our favorite member of Congress. He's basically like the mirror image of AOC, right? What I mean by that is it looks the same in some ways, but it's flipped. Matt Gaetz raises money from small donors in his district, and that empowers him. He's not beholden to big lobbyists, corporations, PACs, or any of that. He's got people who believe in him and give him money. AOC does too. But AOC is a liar, an ideologue, manipulative, and all of that stuff. And Matt Gaetz stands on principle. The media smears him and complains. But I put it this way. I'm a middle of the road kind of guy. And I'm watching the news and I'm like, oh, look, a thing. Let's fact check a thing. I'll give you an example. Last night, this is so frustrating. At like 8:50, all of these Twitter accounts are saying Bowman has lost. And I was like, whoa, big news. Bowman's lost. There's no sources anywhere. Somebody made it up. They made it up. And so then I'm just like, guys, I'm looking at the results. AP Decision Desk. The results are not in. They all start deleting their tweets. I'm like, why did you guys tweet all that without any fact checking, without any sources? You know, people do this. People do this. But I'll tell you this. I'll look at the news. I'll look at the sources. I'll fact check it. And if I can get the confirmed data, I'll say, there we go. It's being reported. It's confirmed. Here's my point. You look at the far left. They lie about everything. All of them. Donald Trump's convictions. Oh, come on. We are so deeply entrenched in the Democrats lying about Trump that they've lost their minds. If I go to Matt Gaetz and I say, take a look at this news article, he's going to go, what? Is that real? Hold on. He's going to pick up his phone. He's going to start looking and he's going to be like, wow, yeah, no kidding. Look at all this. It's being reported everywhere that this thing has happened. If you go to the far left and say, look at this report, they'll say, that's fake news. You're lying. There are some leftists and liberals that I think are good, that I like. Kyle Kalinske always gets a shout out. He's a good dude. I think he's wrong about a lot of things. That's fine. But he's also a guy that, and nobody's perfect, but on numerous occasions, I've seen him confronted with the truth, and he's been like, oh, wow, I didn't realize that. And I'm like, thank you. Jordan Peterson, much the same. Confronted on a point that he didn't consider, and he goes, maybe I was wrong about that. It's so easy, isn't it? Then you look at these squad members, and they lie. Bowman took the emergency signs off a door and pulled a fire alarm. He should be in jail. I get a couple months, slap on the wrist. How disgusting. But this is why they oust the guy. Now, shout out to, I think it was Phil Labonte last night who said, Bowman now finally has something to blame the Jews for. Ha ha! Because it was overwhelmingly Jewish voters who are ousting him. Here's the story. Let's talk about the ramifications. And we got to rag on AOC a little bit because she's getting roasted for this dancing she was doing. And then, to compound that with Bowman losing is, oof. CNN says the result in the New York 16th Congressional District is a victory for pro-Israel groups, which backed Latimer with historic levels of spending during the campaign. According to ad tracking for Ad Impact, the race was the most expensive House primary on record. Wow. Bowman, 48, a former middle school principal in the Bronx, was first elected in 2020 after unseating longtime Democratic Rep Elliot Engel, a pro-Israel hawk, in the primary. That race, much like this one, centered on accusations that the incumbent has lost touch with the diverse but heavily segregated district, which spans part of the Bronx and Westchester counties. Latimer, 70, a Democratic political fixture for decades who entered the race at the urging of pro-Israel groups, argued that Bowman's vocal opposition to Israel's war in Gaza and his combative political style were out of step with the electorate, which includes a significant Jewish population in Westchester, which is likely why he lost. Well, let me show you what we got here. We got to pull this up. Here's AOC. This video is going massively viral, and I hope you're ready. For those that are just listening, AOC is pumping, jumping up and down, waving her arms, screaming. And then she pulls her hair down. Apparently not. Are you ready to fight for So right there in the back, you can see Jamaal, the Bronx, big old banner. Are you ready to fight? The answer was no, AOC. The answer was no, they weren't. And Jamaal Bowman has lost. So no. Next question. Now, AOC is getting roasted. Justin Barragona says, what are we outraged about today, folks? And there's Harris Faulkner, I think her name is right. AOC stomps around on stage to Cardi B song at rally. I'll keep my criticism of AOC academic. On the surface, if someone came to me and said, we're going to do a rally and we want the candidate to jump up, high energy, pump up the crowd and yell, let's go, let's fight, I'd say, okay. All right, you don't ham it up too much. It'll look cringe. But then if you tell me that person was AOC, I'd say, whoa. First of all, you got to understand two things. The first thing is character perception. Like if I released a rap song and I was wearing, baggy pants and a do-rag, I'm sorry, it's not going to work. Nobody's going to, Tim Pool, no, please don't. Okay, and that's why it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You've got character profile. AOC's character profile is not the jumping up and down, waving. Whoever gave her that advice, it was bad advice. Bad advice. And now I'm going to point out the elephant in the room, and that is the sexism. And I mean that literally. Shout out to the left. The reason why AOC's rallying cry doesn't work is because people are sexist. That's the truth. Yeah. I don't know if it's good or bad or whatever. I'm just saying it's sexism. Let me stress. If a 6'3" ripped man yells, "Are you ready to fight?" People cheer for that. They look up to that. There is something deeply ingrained in humans, in my opinion, that when you see a man standing up with a deep voice, tall, exhibiting power, people respond to that. AOC is short, thin, frail, and shrill. I'm not saying shrill as a sign of disrespect or an insult. I'm saying it as a fact statement of her voice is shrill and raspy. Maybe shrill isn't the right word. I don't know. Is shrill derogatory? I don't think so. I think shrill is a high-pitched and piercing voice. Yeah, I'm not saying it to be mean, but it's true. It's true. I think humans, through evolutionary biology, respond to men and women differently. I think the way you see Kamala Harris and Hillary Clinton behave is because people have advised them on this, but given them bad advice. There's a reason why Kamala Harris and Hillary Clinton have repeatedly tried to do my response would be this. Yeah, okay. Well, to be fair, it's because they've got psychoanalysts or whatever telling them women have a harder time playing the strong, table banging character. However, that being said, whoever advised Kamala Harris and Hillary Clinton to be cackling fiends, you did it wrong. One of my favorite things out of 2016 was that people claimed the reason Hillary Clinton lost, it was because of sexism. They said that they just didn't like that she was a woman. And so there was this group. Actually, let me see if I can pull this up. This one's good. Trump and Hillary debate gender swap. And they basically had people, do we have this right here? Yeah, check this out. They had a woman play as Donald Trump and a man as Hillary Clinton. And they had an audience watch. And then they asked the audience who won. And guess what? The lady won. The lady won. And while you, after watching the second televised debate, they, with the first female candidate nominated by a major party, blah, 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 they decided to do this gender swap thing. But the lessons about gender emerged, and rehearsal turned out to be much less tidy. They thought that a man playing Hillary Clinton would win. Nope. Still came off as smug, and people liked the raw attitude of the female debater, who was Trump. Because you got to think about how Trump acts. When Trump's talking, it sounds like a person arguing. Hillary Clinton sounded like this snooty elitist who's out of touch. You get a guy to do that, and it's just as bad. That being said, there are women who can do the rah-rah rallying. Totally think so, right? AOC is not one of them. What did she tweet? Let's pull it. She says, Fox News is big mad that we're for the many, not the money. We rallied 1,200 people in the Bronx to take on dark money, get fired up, and send busloads of volunteers to canvass and phone bank. It's called organizing, and it's fun as hell. Oh, I don't care. Like AOC, do your rallies. It's fine. But Bowman lost. Okay, you got this big Bowman thing, and then apparently she didn't even go to his party. They knew he was going to lose, and they abandoned him as fast as they could. AOC knows that she's vulnerable too, but she's not going to lose the general, not in a D+30 or whatever. Cori Bush may actually lose in St. Louis. That's big news. I think the big news out of this, and we'll give a shout out to Thomas Massie for taunting Bowman. He said, I'm going to miss our informal chit-chats in the hallways. Bowman was a bloviating moron. He was. Okay, sorry. Going in the hallways of Congress screaming to get a viral video because he's trying to win re-election. Well, apparently it did not work. Sorry, buddy. You're out. Here we go. Let me tell you what the Democratic Party is concerned about. Mediaite says CNN's Van Jones calls the protest outside the synagogue that turned violent a pogrom. The establishment Democrat Party, they know they have a large Jewish voter base. And if they take the side of the progressive left on the Israel issue, they will lose. Look at how fascinating this is. Democrats are abandoning the far left. I got this tweet here from Cenk Yuger. Yuger tweeted, in the wee hours of the morning, Israel 1, Bowman 0. Pretty sure it's not supposed to work like that, but it definitely does. Holy crap. I call this Israel derangement syndrome. Bowman lost because of Jewish voters. That's it. But you see what they do. The conflation between Israel and Jewish voters in the United States. Okay, I'll tell you this. There are pro-Israel PACs in the United States. Yeah, they're United States organizations. There are a lot of pro-Israel forces. I mean like political forces, legal forces. Yeah. In fact, a lot of people in America are pro-Israel. You'll get online the anti-Israel bunch, and they will scream to the high heavens, they hate Israel. But the reality is most of Americans are like either Israel neutral, Israel positive. And it's only online you get these Israel derangement syndrome people. Cenk Yuger doesn't get that. How do you turn out 44, 50, 60,000 people to vote against Bowman? It's not because Israel did a PSYOP campaign, dude. That's ridiculous. I'm sure pro-Israel elements dumping tons of money in this played a massive role. But the reality is it motivated people against Bowman. I think there are people in Westchester who are Jewish and don't like the veiled anti-Semitism. No, Colin, let's play the game. Come on. I can already hear all the anti-Israel people saying there's a difference between anti-Semitism and being anti-Israel. Yeah, I agree. Shut up. Stop being a moron. Obviously, we can criticize Israel, and it's not anti-Semitic. But when you get people who come out and conflate the two on the left, then yes, it's anti-Semitic. Like what I'm saying is, when Jewish voters are upset with a guy, when far leftists are attacking a synagogue or people outside of a synagogue, when they're in New York City cheering for Hamas, okay, it's kind of like, I'm not so sure they're actually anti-Israel. When you see these protests at these universities and they barred Jewish students from entering. Yeah, I'm not saying pro-Israel flags or anything. I'm saying there was one guy who was just Jewish, Hasidic Jew, and they wouldn't let him in. This was in Connecticut. They barred him from entering because he was Jewish. And that's not the first time that happened. It happened several times. Because these far leftists don't care for the difference between an American Jew and a pro-Israel activist or Zionist. And there's an overlap. So that's it. Cenk Yuger blaming Israel, claiming they won against Bowman. It shouldn't be this way. It was American voters who turned out. The question is, why did they turn out? Because Israel funded it. Where's Bowman? Where's any of your support? I thought AOC was rallying for him. Okay, what you're really saying is that this small nation in the middle of nowhere is more powerful than everything you have to offer. Whatever, dude. Blaming Israel because Bowman lost is silly. The dude pulled a fire alarm. He embarrassed his district. He embarrassed the Democratic Party, and they wanted him gone. So keep playing that narrative, man. Good luck. In the New York Post, they say Trump trails Biden by just 8% in New York, with a surge among support from black and Jewish voters. And that's not going to change. If anything, it's going to get better for Trump. Now take a look. Look at this. This is St. Louis, Reddit. Cory Bush is down 22 points to Wesley Bell. Now, this is from 5 months ago. It's an old poll. Remington MO Scout poll, first congressional. Question 1. The candidates in the Democratic primary for Missouri congressional district are Wesley Bell, Maria Chappelle, Nadal, and Cory Bush. If the election were held today, who would you vote for? Wesley Bell got 50%. Yeah, that's amazing. Missouri's first district primary. We got Cory Bush and Wesley Bell. And Wesley Bell, Democratic Party, running the U.S. House to represent Missouri's first district. He also ran for the U.S. Senate to represent Missouri. He will not appear on the ballot for they say he will not appear on the ballot. Is that what's happening? Bell also ran. Hold on. Okay, this is weird. He is on the ballot for the Democratic primary on August 6, 2024. He will not appear on the ballot for the Democratic primary on August 6. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. For the Senate. I think that's what they're saying. He's going to be on the ballot for Congress, not for the Senate. Okay. I'm like, wait, what do you mean? He's like, oh, for Congress, right? He's running for Congress, not the Senate. A lot of people believe Cori Bush, squad member, is done. She will lose. And then all of these people are going to come out and scream, Israel did it, Israel. Dude, there's a lot of Jewish voters in America, okay? And they don't like the far leftists who conflate Israel and being Jewish. It's funny because I know I have a lot of Jewish friends. There are people here who are Jewish at Timcast. And it's funny because I'm like, what I really don't understand about these anti-Jewish, anti-Semitic people is the assumption that like some random American Jew who just goes to synagogue and has a job and doesn't think much about Israel and that they're somehow part of this cabal that rules the world and this weird conspiracy theory. And I'm like, dude, I have a friend who's Jewish and homeless. Like 20 years ago, a friend of mine was Jewish and like homeless, bouncing around with nope, like sleeping on couches. And I'm like, I just don't understand. Like, I get you want to criticize some Jewish people, but then why even mention that they're Jewish? I just can't stand any of this. I just can't. It's not like the fact that a person is white, black, Asian, whatever, has nothing to do with their circumstances. Oh, there's a bunch of Irish people who are running the U.S. banks. That's a fact. We pulled that up. That was hilarious. A bunch of the CEOs and top executives of big banks are Irish. Look, man, Democrats talk all day and night. We'll wrap this up. Democrats talk all day and night about critical race theory and about equality, and then they turn around and attack the Jewish population. What do you think's going to happen? You're going to lose. Well, not AOC, though, but this is going to have a big effect coming up at the end of the year in November. I think Jewish voters are going to largely break for Trump. I don't know if he gets the majority of them, but it's going to be a big deal. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all then.